I'm just going to run through a few of the things that made this house the very height of fashion when it was built. This house is about Bess showing that she's on trend, that she can afford the latest styles and fashions. So the house consists of 6 towers, each of 4 floors, giving it this really striking silhouette above the Derbyshire landscape. You can see how symmetrical it is, which demonstrates this Elizabethan desire for balance and order. Each tower is topped with beautifully carved stonework containing the letters ES, Elizabeth of Shrewsbury. And in fact, they're all over the house. So she's just telling people here, look what I own, look what I've created. And Bess is involved in the building and design of this place. She worked with the architect Smithson to make sure this vision of hers was a masterpiece of Renaissance architecture. And it was both grand and impressive. But remember, it was also functional as well. It was a place to live. You might notice that the first 3 floors each have a ceiling that's higher than the one below. And this reflects the status of people who lived on those floors. So servants are in the smaller rooms at the bottom, going up to the nobility at the top. Bess and her guests in the beautiful large rooms with the tall ceilings towards the top of the building. And this is a bit like how some viewed society at this time, their divine plan for the universe, with the lowest status people in society at the bottom and the higher status at the top. You might also notice the columned, covered walkway. There's one on each side of Hardwick Hall. This is called a loggia, and it allows people to exercise without leaving the house or getting wet. And this is a feature inspired by the Italian Renaissance. And this isn't the first loggia on a house in England, but it's very trendy, and at this time it's a bit of a must-have on any grand country house. This is the Great Hall. Now, great halls had been around for a long time, and were actually at this time they were going out of fashion because large landowners, the lords, didn't need a space like this to carry out the public duties that they used to carry out. So they just didn't need to sort of hold trials in the big medieval halls of medieval times anymore. But Bess had a great hall included in the design of Hardwick Hall. Now, there's a couple of reasons for this, and they're both pretty smart. So firstly, the entrance to Hardwick Hall, as you go in, you walk straight into this huge space. And this is really impressive. And it just allows Bess to say, look how grand my house is. And also, just towards the back of the Great Hall is a very grand stone staircase that leads off to the rooms above. Now, large staircases like this were really new at this time. Staircases, they didn't used to be like that. Castles, they were often spiral that didn't sort of cover the grand space that these did. So again, this is an opportunity for her to kind of show off what was a pretty new thing, a large grand staircase. Also, the position of the Great Hall, it runs straight through the home. It goes from front to back, so it lets in light on both sides. And the fact that it sort of runs through the centre, it gives the home a more symmetrical layout, which is also a really fashionable thing. Symmetry is a big thing at this time. So this is the long gallery, which is a place for entertaining guests and exercising when it's cold outside. So this is one of the longest long galleries in an Elizabethan house. The length of it up there, the length of it up here. And there's these beautiful, just behind me, this is one marble fireplace, and there's another marble fireplace down there. So long galleries were really, really growing in popularity in Elizabethan times. And they were kind of, if you were designing a house, they were the thing to have. So Bess just made sure she included one at Hardwick. And they contained, really on the other side, portraits, but tapestries as well. And the portraits show family connections, and there's oak panelling in here. And the tapestries on the wall that she spent a fair amount of money buying. they told classical stories. So Bess is kind of showing kind of how sophisticated she is. And of course the wood and the cloth helps to keep the warmth in as well. I'm going to give the windows, I've got to give the windows a special mention because they're so distinctive and well known. And the amount of glass at Hardwick Hall made it stand out from other Elizabethan houses, and it led to the rhyme, Hardwick Hall, more glass than wall. Glass was expensive. They're these sort of little panels of glass, lots and lots and lots of little panels that make up the whole window. And glass is expensive. So that makes it a status symbol. It's a luxury item. The glass is showing off, really. But these large windows also serve a purpose for the people inside. The light provided by these windows and the views, you can't really see, but the beautiful views of the countryside must have been really pleasing for those people inside, which adds to the pleasure of living in this place and visiting this place. In medieval times, the land around a manor house would be used for hunting, but that started to change, and the nobles now wanted larger gardens close to their homes, which they could use for pleasure and relaxation. Elizabethan gardens, and Hardwick Hall is no exception, were often laid out in a symmetrical pattern with squares or quarters of varying sizes. They had shaded areas and ornamental ponds and bird houses. Hardwick's also got an orchard, and it's got some over there vegetable growing areas to keep the house supplied with fresh herbs and fruit and veg.